Elaine Kub, author of Mastering the Grain Markets, is our market analyst this week. Last week, the U.S. Department of Agriculture released the World Agricultural Supply and Demand estimates for the month of March. In the report, USDA raised Brazil's expected soybean crop to a total of 4.15 billion bushels. Argentina's crop was lowered to 1.7 billion bushels due to the continued drought. Pressure continues to mount domestically as the president solidifies his plan to impose new tariffs on steel and aluminum. Currently, agriculture leaders are warning of a possible trade war with export countries like China. Meanwhile, a lack of measurable precipitation in parts of the southern plains increases concerns of a poor wheat crop. We talked with Elaine on Wednesday afternoon and began by asking her how the markets reacted to last week's report.
Well, going into that, the big question was how well USDA would estimate the Argentina soybean crop, because that has been the big story that has been fueling a rally in soybean prices in the last couple of months. And USDA came in and they said the Argentine soybean crop would be 47 million metric tons, and that's a smaller number than most of the traders were expecting going into the report. So that would be interpreted as a bullish surprise. I'd like to mention that it could get adjusted even lower as time goes on, because right now Argentina's soybean fields they still need moisture to fill those pods, and they're not getting that moisture in the forecast. So it is possible for that number to get lower, and some private estimators have suggested that the final number for Argentina will be lower than 47 million metric tons.
Talk about the markets. Did they react to that bullish number?
They reacted right away, and they do this a lot on report day. They bounced up right away after the report, but then they've been moving lower ever since. Even that day they closed lower, and they've kind of been trending lower ever since. And that's something that they do. You buy the rumor, sell the fact. That has been the story in the past, but now the idea of a short Argentine soybean crop may be fully priced into the markets, and the markets now see this opportunity to correct or to take their profits or to sell off now that story is fully priced in.
Let's talk about Argentina and Brazil weather one more time here. How much longer can we expect the markets to be reacting to that weather?
Oh, so Brazil is about 50% harvested at the moment, and Argentina is just starting to get their harvest started. So there still is a few weeks here where you are going to need precipitation in Argentina to fill those pods. And certainly they're very spooky about the idea that the rally is over. They had built up 17 times as many long positions as short positions, and I'm talking about those funds, those managed money speculative funds. So now I think they see any opportunity to get out of soybeans, and this is their chance.
Well, let's talk more about domestically. Soybeans have fell 50 cents since the beginning of March, and that's largely due to tariff talks. Talk about the retaliation that there's talk of China retaliating and the big concerns that traders are having.
Yeah, like I mentioned, anything that spooks these traders that were previously long in soybeans will definitely, cause that long liquidation, and I think that's why we're seeing these volatile days with these big double-digit losses in soybeans. And certainly our soybean exports are very vulnerable to the idea of a trade war. Our soybean exports and our pork exports, our beef exports, meat in general, that's another place that China could come in and retaliate. That's a very vulnerable area from our export perspective. From soybeans, China will probably have to buy some soybeans from America eventually. They probably can't get by with what else is out there available on the world market. But I think they will certainly prefer trading partners like Brazil, who does not have an antagonistic relationship or is not in the process of building an antagonistic trade relationship with them. So certainly that has been something that has spooked the soybean market, yes.
What trends do you see as we continue to move through March for fellow row crop commodities?
Well, this is a time of year when seasonally we do tend to see the high, that seasonal high, this late February, sort of early March high, that seems to have been placed. Certainly in the soybean market, our best opportunities were probably a week or so behind us. But the prices are still profitable. This is still certainly a good time for farmers to be looking at making some sales and locking in some profitable prices. At 1030 futures, soybeans are definitely a profitable crop for folks to be locking in with what they intend to plant in 2018.
Talk about the drought happening in Kansas and Oklahoma and the southern plains as a whole. Can we see that? It's currently affecting wheat. Will it spill over to the other commodities?
Well, the drought may spill over to other commodities, and that would certainly be something that bears watching when we get into May, June timeframe. Right now, though, for the markets, we've seen that KC wheat contract, which reflects the hard red winter wheat market, certainly has been rallying, and that's justified. We've seen NASS come in and say that a majority of the Kansas and Texas wheat fields are rated either poor or very poor, and as they come out of dormancy, it is not looking great down there. But that supply problem, that's really not something that has even spilled over into hard red spring wheat yet, and it certainly hasn't spilled over into the feed wheat sector yet. So the supply losses potential from that Southern Plains drought, that so far is not a problem for the other markets, but if the drought itself persists and expands and gets farther into the Corn Belt, if it starts affecting Nebraska in a bigger way, then yes, that's absolutely something that could come in and spark some sort of the summer rally for corn and soybeans.